Welcome to our Trump Briefing Show. Today, we've got some exciting headlines. First up, President Donald Trump is heading to the Florida Everglades to visit a new immigration detention facility, affectionately nicknamed Alligator Alcatraz. This remote site, built on a fragile ecosystem, can hold up to 5,000 detainees and is surrounded by wildlife like alligators and pythons. Critics are raising concerns about environmental and humanitarian impacts, but Trump is emphasizing border enforcement. Next, in the political arena, Trump has issued a bold threat to cut federal funding to New York if Democratic mayoral hopeful Zohran Mamdani wins and doesn't behave. Mamdani, a Democratic socialist and the first South Asian Muslim candidate for NYC mayor, has caught Trump's attention with his progressive views and criticism of Israel. The race is heating up, and Trump's warning adds a new twist to the campaign. Finally, trade relations are back on track. After Canada dropped its digital services tax targeting U.S. tech giants like Google and Amazon, the White House announced that trade negotiations with Canada will restart immediately. This move comes after tensions over the tax, which would have imposed a 3% levy, but now the two countries are ready to move forward with talks. Stay tuned for more updates. Please continue to watch for the detailed content. The Toronto Star reports that President Donald Trump is set to visit a newly constructed immigration detention facility in the Florida Everglades, a move that underscores his aggressive stance on border enforcement. This facility, dubbed Alligator Alcatraz by critics and built on a remote swampy airstrip about 50 miles from Miami, is designed to hold up to 5,000 detainees amidst environmental and cultural protests. Native American leaders and environmentalists oppose the project, citing concerns over sacred land and fragile ecosystems, while some Florida officials praise its security measures. The facility's remote location and the involvement of FEMA in funding highlight the administration's focus on border control, despite widespread criticism over humanitarian implications and ecological impact. Meanwhile, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation highlights Donald Trump's recent threats to withhold federal funding from New York City if Democratic mayoral candidate Zohran Mamdani wins and doesn't behave. Mamdani, a Democratic socialist and the first Muslim and South Asian to run for mayor, has gained attention for his victory over former Governor Andrew Cuomo in the primary, positioning himself as a challenger to Trump's political influence. Trump dismisses Mamdani as a communist and warns of financial repercussions, amid controversy over Mamdani's outspoken criticism of Israel and his refusal to condemn certain pro-Palestinian phrases, which has stirred accusations of anti-Semitism. Mamdani defends his stance, asserting his fight for working people and promising to oppose what he describes as Trump's fascism, while navigating the political tensions and cultural debates that define this high-stakes race for New York's mayoralty. The Toronto Star vividly depicts the recent thaw in U.S.-Canada trade relations, sparked by Canada's decision to eliminate its digital services tax, which had previously caused a diplomatic standoff. The removal of this tax, a move prompted by a direct request from President Trump during the G7 summit, has paved the way for the resumption of negotiations. U.S. officials, including White House economic advisor Kevin Hassett, expressed optimism that this significant step would lead to renewed discussions, especially since the tax targeted American tech giants like Google and Amazon, imposing a 3% revenue levy from Canadian users. The story emphasizes the importance of this development in restoring economic dialogue and highlights the high stakes involved in the ongoing trade negotiations. CBC provides a nuanced perspective on Canada's internal efforts to dismantle trade barriers within its borders, which have long hampered economic efficiency and added costs to goods and services. While Prime Minister Mark Carney's government has passed legislation aimed at reducing federal restrictions, experts caution that true free trade across provinces is a complex, ongoing process. The law is more a starting point than a finished product, with provincial powers and existing systems like supply management still in place. The article underscores the intricacies of federal-provincial negotiations, illustrating how political promises to eliminate barriers face real-world hurdles, including entrenched provincial regulations and the lack of a comprehensive list of trade obstacles. The ongoing dialogue, especially concerning trucking regulations, signals that internal trade reform remains a work in progress, with many details yet to be ironed out. The CBC also emphasizes the broader context of Canada's internal trade challenges, revealing that despite legislative efforts, many barriers persist due to provincial autonomy and varied standards. Experts highlight that the law's impact remains uncertain until detailed regulations are drafted and industry consultations are completed. The article notes that the federal government recognizes the complexity of the task, with Minister Chrystia Freeland planning discussions with provincial counterparts to address issues like trucking regulations, which are crucial for seamless interprovincial trade. This ongoing process reflects a cautious, incremental approach to internal economic integration, acknowledging that meaningful change will require time, cooperation, and consensus among diverse jurisdictions. BBC reports that the White House has accused Harvard University of violating civil rights laws by failing to adequately address the harassment and discrimination faced by Jewish students on campus. The administration's letter highlights disturbing incidents, such as Jewish students being spat upon, assaulted, and subjected to anti-Semitic imagery, including a swastika replacing the Star of David on an Israeli flag. Federal investigators found that a majority of Jewish students reported bias, with a quarter feeling physically threatened, pointing to a systemic failure rooted in Harvard's alleged neglect and a culture of racial hierarchy that enables anti-Semitism to flourish. This confrontation marks a significant escalation in the ongoing legal battle, with the government threatening to revoke Harvard's federal funding if corrective measures are not implemented swiftly, further intensifying the university's conflict with federal authorities amid broader concerns about rising anti-Semitism and campus safety. MSNBC describes the tumult within the U.S. Senate as Republicans, under pressure from internal divisions and unpopularity, attempt to push the so-called One Big Beautiful Bill Act through a complex legislative process called the bird bath. Relying on budget reconciliation to avoid a filibuster, GOP lawmakers face the challenge of having the Senate parliamentarian, Elizabeth McDonough, remove provisions that violate budget rules. Frustration has mounted, with some far-right members advocating for overriding her rulings, an unprecedented move that could undermine Senate procedures. President Trump publicly supported bypassing the parliamentarian, labeling her an unelected swamp bureaucrat, and calling for her decisions to be overruled, echoing a broader disdain for procedural rules. While GOP leaders are inclined to respect her rulings to preserve institutional integrity, Trump's stance exemplifies his tendency to view rules and laws as obstacles to his agenda, revealing a contentious dynamic that threatens to reshape legislative norms. Texas-based coverage from the Texas Tribune and Corpus Christi Caller-Times highlights the profound implications of the Supreme Court's decision to lift the nationwide injunction on Trump's executive order aiming to end birthright citizenship. This ruling could force families in Texas and other states to navigate a bureaucratic nightmare, as parents must prove their legal status to secure citizenship for their newborns, an arduous process that may leave many children stateless. Experts warn that without clear federal guidance, hospitals and local officials face confusion and potential legal chaos, with some fearing that babies born in U.S. hospitals might be rendered legally invisible, jeopardizing their access to essential documents and services. The decision threatens to undermine a long-standing constitutional guarantee, creating a modern caste system where citizenship depends on bureaucratic proof rather than birthplace, leaving vulnerable families in a state of uncertainty and fear. The Toronto Star reports that Nebraska Republican Representative Don Bacon has decided not to seek re-election next year, citing the increasing polarization and dysfunction in Washington as key factors influencing his decision. Bacon, a centrist and Air Force veteran first elected in 2016, has navigated a delicate political landscape in Nebraska's 2nd District, which includes Omaha and its progressive voters, often swinging between Republican and Democratic preferences. Despite his efforts to maintain bipartisan appeal, including backing some Democratic initiatives like the 2021 infrastructure bill, Bacon's criticism of former President Trump and his policies has strained his relationship with the party's more conservative faction, leading to primary challenges. His decision to step away reflects the broader challenges faced by moderates in a polarized climate, exemplified by recent electoral shifts such as Omaha's rejection of a Republican mayor and the potential for Democrats to flip the vulnerable district. Meanwhile, across the political spectrum, Republican Senator Thom Tillis of North Carolina also announced his retirement, driven by disagreements over Trump-era policies, highlighting a broader trend of political upheaval and re-evaluation among seasoned lawmakers. The Independent reports that Laura Trump, the daughter-in-law of former President Donald Trump and a Fox News weekend show host, is seriously considering running for the open North Carolina Senate seat after incumbent Thom Tillis announced he would not seek re-election amid a fallout with Trump over the One Big, Beautiful Bill, which Tillis opposed due to Medicaid cuts. With Tillis stepping down, speculation is rife that Laura Trump, who has expressed her political ambitions publicly and has the support of her family, might run and potentially secure the GOP nomination, especially if she decides to leave her lucrative media career. Other Republican contenders, like Michael Whatley, Pat Harrigan, and Richard Hudson, are also being considered, while Democrats are eyeing former Governor Roy Cooper or have already seen Wiley Nickel launch his campaign. Laura Trump's past ambitions, her high polling in hypothetical primaries, and her close ties to Trump have positioned her as a prominent figure in the race, although her decision to stay on Fox News could alter her political trajectory. Meanwhile, Trump himself has indicated he will support primary challengers to Tillis, emphasizing the high stakes and intense inter-party dynamics surrounding the race. Thank you for tuning in. The content above showcases the latest briefing reports and analytical synopses, thoughtfully curated by the 6Do team. These insights stem from a wide array of reputable media outlets, think tanks, government sources, and specialized experts worldwide. We encourage you to explore these sources for a comprehensive perspective. Keep in mind that while the content may not always align with the official standpoint of 6Do Brief, it's not meant to be taken as absolute directives for decision-making. Comprising seasoned media professionals, learned scholars, and accomplished scientists, the 6Do team embodies a trailblazing, fully independent media entity. To customize 6Do Brief to meet your professional needs, you have the option to subscribe to a diverse array of briefings on our website, 6dobrief.com. Regardless of your location, you can conveniently receive 6Do Brief via email.
Turn on the screen, monsters screaming. Empty smiles, their words misleading. Power games in darkened rooms. Spin their lies to seal our doom. Oh, oh, oh. Turn on the screen, monsters screaming. Empty smiles, their words misleading. Power games in darkened rooms. Spin their lies to seal our doom. They talk about freedom, justice fake. Behind their walls, shadows take. Puppeteers with strings of steel. Promises broken, deals they conceal. We're just numbers in their cold hands. Fight the castles built on sand. Rise up now, reclaim the night of their truth and blinding light. Oh, elections and deals in the dark. Voices lost in power's arc. Leaders laugh while we cry.